Hey guys, what's up? It's Glavian, and at the age of 22, I was on top of the world. I had started a marketing agency while in college, and it was doing decently well. And so I had decided to leave college to continue pursuing my agency. And my agency continued to grow. I got a business partner, we opened up an office, we hired some employees, we got some clients, we got those clients' results. Everything was fun. We were going to fancy dinners, everyone was hyping me up. My parents were hyping me up, my friends were hyping me up, women were hyping me up, and everything was going fine and dandy for young Glavian. And, you know, partially because me and my business partner had disagreements on how to proceed with the agency, and partly because I thought I could do anything. I thought I was indestructible. I decided to then exit out of the agency to go do other things. And very quickly did I learn that indeed you are not indestructible, and indeed you cannot do anything, and that everything you touch doesn't always turn into gold. And that was, a rude awakening for young Glavian. And I think it was Tony Robbins who had the quote that says, "When you succeed, you celebrate, and when you fail, you ponder." Well, uh, after dabbling in a few things, Glavian had to do, or young Glavian had to do, a lot of pondering. And around 2019, Classic WoW was coming out, and I was hype. I'm like, Classic WoW, let's fucking go. And so then at the time, my main driver was a Chromebook, and I hadn't purchased a desktop yet. And so I was like, well, how am I going to play Classic if all I have is this rinky dinky Chromebook and it doesn't even have Windows on it? And so, I taught myself Linux and the command line and all this stuff, and I got World of Warcraft Classic working on it relatively well. And I was like, let's fucking go. This is hype. And, you know, that sparked something within me. And, I thought learning Linux and all that was relatively fun. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't you teach yourself how to program? And so I spent about a year and a half doing just that. And I ended up making an app for a local nonprofit, and they used it, at the bookstore. It was kind of this like cashier app for a bookstore. And, you know, I was preparing myself to be employed, and I'm gonna be honest, it was not exactly something that filled me with joy every morning. I started getting a little sad. I started, losing motivation for life and that zest for life, and I just wasn't feeling it. And one day in December of 2021, it was around Christmas time, I woke up and I said, you know what? Today, today, I'm going to stream. Literally the moment my eyes opened. And, I had intended to do it for fun and as a hobby, kind of, get my spirits up. And so I found myself a rinky dinky webcam that was lying around and a rinky dinky microphone that was lying around. And, I stumbled my ass over to my PC, plugged everything in, turned the stream on, and then, showed on Discord that, I'm streaming. And some people from Discord came in, we had some conversations, and it was really fun. And I have a tendency to be rather long winded. If you're my friend, or if we have any amount of mutual interests and we have a phone call, you could expect that phone call to go from 2 hours, sometimes all the way up to 6 hours. Okay? And this happens with pretty much anyone I talk to. And so a lot of my friends were like, hey, we're really good at talking for a long period of time. Maybe we should start a podcast. And I'm like, you're not special, bro or girl. I mean, I love you, but I have these conversations with basically anybody. And it's a combination of me being very curious and asking a lot of questions and having a lot to say, etc., etc. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, well, streaming would probably be fun. And so I did. And, it was fun. But very quickly I realized that streamers have a very hard time marketing and growing their streams, especially if you were on Twitch, which I was, twitch.tv/Glavian. And the reason for that is because, well, Twitch doesn't want to recommend very small streams because they don't know if that's a good stream or not. They have no idea. And so they would rather recommend big streamers because they think that there's a higher probability that you're going to retain an audience and be able to show more advertising if you send new people over to well-known streamers who are, tried and true, than little guys. And so you will see if you go to Twitch and you scroll down any category that the hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of streamers who are streaming to 0 people or 1 person or 2 people. There is a lot. And, there's no algorithm really helping streamers to grow or anything like that at all. And well, I have a marketing background. And so I thought to myself, well, you need to do some marketing now, don't you? Because you're not going to be able to have fun on stream unless you have a community to speak with. And so, I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? And so I started downloading my VODs from Twitch and cutting them up and uploading them here on this channel. I mean, they're unlisted. You can't see them now because they're freaking atrocious. And I'm like, you'd probably be better off making content that was crafted and tailor made for YouTube as the platform. And so then I started doing that. And that was starting like the beginning of this year, like January. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And very quickly, I realized some advantages that YouTubers have over streamers. And the first advantage that I really understood was that as someone who does YouTube, I can give myself a much more genuine experience of the games that I'm covering than streamers. Because right now in Final Fantasy, no one knows. None of you know what data center I'm on. None of you know what server I'm on. None of you know my username. My free company has no idea I make content. I'm completely anonymous. And because I'm completely anonymous, that gives me what I think is a more genuine experience, what anyone else who plays the game and doesn't make content would experience the game to be. And I think having that genuine experience gives me an advantage in a way that I can understand how anyone else, experiences this game and make content from that place. And I think that's more relatable. And I think that can, facilitate better and more genuine content. So that's the first thing. The second advantage I think YouTubers have in general over streamers is that, in my opinion, as a streamer, it is your job and your responsibility to engage and entertain your audience first, and the game is kind of just a tool to facilitate that. I don't think a good stream is playing a game in silence and focusing on the game and just streaming it to an audience. I think that's boring, and I don't think that's fair to anyone who would, give you their time to watch your stream. If you're going to stream, you better be entertaining and you better be engaging. And so if I were to stream, I would kind of approach it from that mindset. And because I would be focused so much on entertaining you guys, that would take away from me playing the game. But when I'm not streaming, and if I'm not streaming, and instead I'm just focusing on the game and the gameplay, I can, play the game in such a way that is normal. It kind of relates to my first point. In the first point, no one knows who I am, so I get that anonymity. My second point here is because I could focus on the game instead of entertaining a stream, that also gives me a better experience, which then lets me make better content. Now, why is it that so many content creators who make Final Fantasy content or gaming content end up streaming anyway? And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag on this one. Although I do believe that a lot of streamers and YouTubers, like the people who do both, enjoy streaming, because I fucking do. I had fun streaming, It's also important to consider that, especially if you're a small content creator, streaming will, in general, and 99 times out of 100, make you more money than just making content on YouTube alone. And that's pretty undeniable. And so, especially if you're smaller, you're going to be getting much more money from the streaming. And so, due to some combination of both enjoying the game and enjoying streaming and, making money, I think that's why a lot of streamers do end up streaming. Now, some streamers I respect, and my favorite streamer by far is Asmongold, and Asmongold was a huge inspiration for me to make this channel to begin with and to start streaming to begin with. He really does just focus on one thing. Asmongold doesn't really make YouTube videos anymore unless it's his day off. Asmongold primarily is a streamer, and he has editors who then upload his content. And because he focuses on just one thing, he can, hone that in and attain to that mastery, just pound in the repetition with streaming. And he's not really spreading himself too thin. And, if I were to start streaming, I feel like that's what would happen. I'd be spreading myself too thin. It would be the stream and it would be the videos. And, the more I focused on my stream, the less I could focus on my videos, which would make worse videos. The more I focus on my videos, the less I could focus on my stream, which would make a worse stream. And, for several years in my early 20s, I tried to balance bodybuilding, like hardcore balls to the wall, 7% body fat competitive bodybuilding with, things like starting a company or with things like, getting employed as a programmer. And I found it very difficult. It was easier when I was younger because I had less responsibilities. And so I could put all my focus into bodybuilding and do well. But once life got a little bit more complicated and I had to do more than one thing, you know, I found that the more I'd do one, the more it would detract from the other. And then at the end of the day, neither of them would be done all the way. Confucius has a quote, and he says, if you chase two rabbits, you catch neither. And so it took me a long time to learn that what do you want to do is you really want to have one thing that you focus on, that you make progress on, that you want to progress day in and day out, and attain mastery towards. And then everything else, you don't want to let decline, like you don't want to let your health decline while you're focusing on your career, but you do want to maintain good health. But that's the key word, maintain. And this is something that I learned from reading Steven Schwartz's book. He's a billionaire. He just wrote an autobiography a year ago. And, I heard some other guys say it to me, and I didn't really understand it until I started implementing it in my life. And so to focus on those two things, I think will take away from each other. And, it would harm my ability to attain mastery in either. And to really wrap this up, my goal with this channel, my goal is to make you guys, my subscribers, the people who have decided, thank you by the way, to hit subscribe on my channel. You guys, I want to give you some food for thought. I want to engage you and I want to entertain you. And that is my North Star. That is my only goal. That is fucking it. That's it. And it's not because I'm a saint. It's because I think that'll, one, make for better content, which will come back to me too. It's a win-win situation. So paradoxically, I think for content creators, the more you selflessly give, the more, honest you are, and the more you try to appeal to your core audience, the better content you're going to have. And if I make you guys really happy, you're going to be more likely to recommend me. And the internet's a big place. YouTube has billions of users. And so if I make my core audience really, really happy, chances are there are people who are just like us who will, resonate with that too. But if I try to go for more mass appeal, I'm thinking, well, how do I grow? How do I grow? How do I grow? I water down the message. I try to, appeal to the masses. And what that'll do is it'll make my core audience less happy. And that's not my intent here. That's not my intent at all. Again, not because I'm a saint. I think it's better for you guys. And I also think as a result, it'll be better for me in the long run. Right? And so to wrap this up, will I ever stream? Ever? Like I just said, since my main goal is to please my core audience, you guys, our community. If you guys demand it of me, they're like, we want streams, we want to engage with you in real time, we want to engage with you one-on-one, then I will consider it, yes, if that day ever comes. And if I ever think that for some reason I can, fulfill that North Star, fulfill that main mission of engaging you guys and entertaining you guys, and I think that that medium of streaming will do that better, then I will stream. But as of right now, I don't think that's the case. I think that these videos serve you guys and make you guys more happy than if I were to go and stream on Twitch right now. So will it ever happen? Maybe, if you guys ask for it. And that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.